Welcome back to Close Encounters of the Tech Kind. I'm John. We're going to have a fantastic conversation this week. We've got a bunch of news things that have hit, and I really want to talk about the World Cup first. Fox has got some interesting takes on how they're going to operate that. Um, Commodore, they just dropped a cell phone on our lap. I want to see what that thing does. Mike, you've got that story.
Mm-hmm.
Mythos and Fable. Wasn't that fun when we had access to it? We'll talk more.
I blinked. I might have missed it.
It wasn't even out for a week. It was gone. Speaking of things being gone, AMD may have done wrong on a bug bounty. We got story. We'll give you the takes. We'll let you form your own opinions on that. But if it's true, shame on them. Samsung has a new data center idea. Instead of putting it in orbit, they're going to send it out to the seas. So, yeah, hang on to that. And then if we got time, Dell has just released a new laptop that is blowing the socks off of Apple's Neo.
Sorry, I
This
just
week,
thought of it. Samsung's bringing a new meaning to online piracy. Sorry, go on.
that's funny. I wonder if they will join the Pirate Bay with this this flotilla of servers that they've got going. Have to see how much that hosted space works. Well, this week we've got Mike.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Mike's got some experience with Commodore. He's got some experience with, you tell us what experience you've got.
I've got experience with Commodore. I started with Commodore. I've also got experience with Apple, especially the Apple II, like most of us Gen Xers who grew up in the 80s. In the
Oregon Trail.
School computer lab, Oregon Trail, lemonade stand, right? Probably even learned how to touch typing on a Apple II. You might remember that.
Lost art these days.
Oh, I know. I saw a thing on social media. Somebody was asking, the little indents on I think it's the F and the J key. Like, what are these little indents for? And everybody, like Gen X, is like, it's so you can find the home row, so you can touch type. Like, but you probably don't even know what that is, do you? Like, but yeah. So
Jackson, do you know what that is?
Oh yeah, no, I had typing classes, and they still do them. So I don't know what's happened, but no, I did typing.
Yeah,
that's good.
But yeah, so I've got a lot of experience, and I've had a whole range of cell phones ranging from, my first one was a Nokia, not a flip phone, just a handheld Nokia. Yeah, like kind of like a brick with just the basic black and white LCD screen.
Wasn't that the 773?
Maybe. It's been so long.
I've got one of those.
Have you guys seen a
all the way up to ended up with a flip phone, ended up with a slide. I can't remember who made it. Might have been an LG model, but it was like a slide phone where it's keyboard slid out, a full QWERTY keyboard.
Yep.
Everything. That was a fun one to have. And then I think it was not long after. I think that one was the last non-smartphone I had before getting into Android smartphones.
Fun fact, I've never recycled a cell phone. I still have all mine. I'm going to stuff and mount them on the mantle.
I gotta look and see if I still have some of my old ones.
Yeah, stack them up and just like a trophy case of all the tech from the beginning to now.
I know, right?
I might get my old rotary dial phone. I think I might have it somewhere in some box.
I just missed when you had a battery that's a quarter the size, but the phone stayed charged longer, about 4 or 5 times.
Right.
I think that's an immutable law. The more capable a system is, the more it's used by people putting software or other crap on your phone.
Right.
Kind of like that old, the whole highway theory that it doesn't matter how wide you make the highway, it'll always be as busy.
The size you make the highway will determine the number of cars that will come to it to fill it up and create a roadblock.
I still like Tiny Toon's take on that. Einstein's theory of relativity is the size of the guest room is in direct proportion to the number of freeloading in-laws staying at the house.
Yeah.
The guest
Cool.
room will always be a certain size.
I
Artie,
lost my guest room a long
how
time
big's your
ago.
guest room?
I mean, you just go out the front door and there's the guest room.
Nice.
Is it like
as long as you
like doghouse style?
Kind of doghouse, more with a bit of a, hallway motif, and very much you get the sense that the weather is very present out there.
I get the feeling
Comes
this
with
is more
Open
of a,
air design.
I get the feeling it's more of a front door experience than it is anything else, right? The world is theirs for the taking kind of thing.
We could do the back door, except that opens up onto a road, so I don't think anybody would want to sleep out there unless, they don't mind being a Texas speed bump.
Oh, well, speaking of Texas speed bump, Fox is taking us for a ride. I'm going to find random segues, guys. I got to put the flavor in there because can't deliver the news
a certain
without it.
amount of talent for that. I'll say.
All right, what's Fox up to now?
Well, I mean, we've had the World Cup going on for some time now. I don't know when did it start? A week ago? I don't
Who's
even know now.
winning?
Well, it's debatable. It feels like everyone's just tying with each other, but we'll see who comes out of the groups. I think most groups have only played like round 1, maybe round 2 at this point.
All I know is the UK and US are going to be in Pennsylvania on the 4th if all things go right.
We'll see how that pans out.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Back to I guess the last one was 1812. See how that goes.
250 years.
You've got more faith in the English team than the English do.
Ouch. Anyway.
Well, so what's been happening is because World Cup is happening on American soil, that means we have American broadcasting that is mainly in charge of it. And that
We
fell
apologize to the
into,
world at large.
yeah, that
We're
fell
sorry.
into Fox's lap. And it's actually hilarious. Like I can speak from it. So last time the World Cup happened, I was actually living in Brazil. And so I got the whole Brazilian experience of the World Cup, which was totally different. And comparing it to how the World Cup's being broadcasted in the United States. Now I say the World Cup wasn't in Brazil, it was in Qatar, but I was there to watch it. In Brazil, there are actually lots of free platforms to watch the World Cup. Like the World Cup is such a central part of the culture there. And even in, I think, most other countries, I think the United States, we're pretty removed from soccer as a sport. And so then you bring in Fox into now streaming it and managing the broadcasting, and they are taking advantage of every single break to show ads. So much so that it has become a problem in that FIFA set rules of, okay, well, the whole controversy that's happening is there's a new rule this World Cup called a hydration break. Usually it's a FIFA World Cup game is played in 2 halves of 45 minutes. They play straight. There's no stops other than penalties and all that. But now they've added a mandatory hydration break halfway into each half. So they've split the World Cup into quarters essentially. And in that hydration break is what they're calling it. Fox is taking full advantage and playing full screen ads. So that means your broadcast of the World Cup game completely is covered up by an ad. So you're completely removed from the game and you're shown ads. And Fox was showing so many ads that sometimes the game would start again, but Fox was still showing an ad. And it's not like, oh no, the game started, like let's cut the ad. They just finished the ad and viewers are getting extremely upset about missing some of the World Cup games, especially people who are not U.S. citizens.
Especially if it's a
Ooh.
As
key
well they should.
play.
As well
Yeah.
they should.
And so
I
as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, this is just classic American sports broadcasting. I can't tell you how many times the ads have gone over, and then it cuts back to the game, and they've already started to play or whatever. So like for us, it's like, oh, whatever. But everyone else is like, what is this? Like, this is not how we're used to streaming the World Cup.
So I went
I mean-
to a Rockies game a while back, and
Yeah.
so as a teenager, I went to the Rockies. That was exciting, and then I went just like a decade ago, and all of a sudden, all the players just standing there staring at each other, and like, what's going on? Like,
Media break.
can we throw the ball, or is this a staring contest? Like, what? When did this change? And people around me are like, well, they've got to play commercials, so they can't play the game while they're playing commercials. So maybe the FIFA should do that. Stop the game and play these commercials, because oh my goodness, those are the important
but
things.
that changes the nature of the game. And here's the thing that it kind of
Yeah.
actually amazes me, because thinking back to, I'm trying to think, I think I watched the Super Bowl this last year. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I missed most of it. But when I've watched regular American NFL football games, for example, and this is just one example because it's happened with other sporting events too, that the network broadcasting has figured out, like, okay, everybody has an HD TV now. There's a little bit more real estate that we can, kind of minimize the game. Like, it might be a timeout or something's going on, and they're kind of waiting for things to regroup before the game gets going again. And so they'll minimize that, but show you an ad off to the side. Say, okay, we're going to advertise to you, but we're going to kind of keep you in the loop of what's going on here while we're waiting to figure out what happens, or something like that. Or even at that, it's like, I've watched football games, American football games, where, if it's a lengthy timeout that they kind of know, like, okay, this is a timeout that we know the duration is going to be, a minute and a half, 90 seconds or something like that. We've got time for a commercial or maybe a couple commercials if they're short ones, right? And then they'll come back. Or there'd be times where they don't even take a commercial break. They'll just let us watch through, while a flag is thrown and the officials discuss it, and it takes, 15, 30 seconds or whatever. But it's not like every little time the play stops that they're going to commercial. I've never felt that from, a lot of our major networks when they do American sports. And I wonder if Fox just felt like that maybe Americans don't care as much, or maybe this isn't as, I don't know, maybe they want to get their money's worth out of it. I don't know. It's really interesting
Setting a world trend.
That they would mess that up so badly to, like, cut into actual gameplay where, you could miss a pretty critical play. I've watched soccer. It moves fast. It can move fast. Like, it can be really slow, it seems at times, but then all of a sudden, if you blink, you might miss a play where next thing you know, somebody just scored a goal, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. It can happen that fast. So that's a pretty big risk to miss something like that.
Well, it was really funny because it got so bad that FIFA had to put an official on the field with a tablet that was watching the Fox broadcast, making sure that it was back to the game stream before they could resume play. So now Fox is
Wow.
interrupting the actual sport by showing ads, and it's just ridiculous. And it's
for
funny.
hydration. Remember,
Right.
it's hydration.
Right. Well, and I think people are blaming FIFA. People are saying, "Oh, FIFA's doing it so that broadcasters can show more ads," and I don't know if that's necessarily the case. There's different opinions. Some people think, no, it should be 45 minutes straight. There shouldn't be any breaks as part of the sport, part of the challenge. And I don't know. You can make argument either way. I think in principle, the hydration break is not a bad thing, but it becomes bad as soon as you have a company like Fox who was then just taking advantage of that break
How,
to then
how
put
long
more
is the break?
ads. I actually don't remember off the top of my head exactly how long the break is.
42 minutes.
I mean, at the in NFL, for example, since that's kind of the most comparable thing we have in the States, every time the quarter changes, that's a commercial break because there's some reset that kind of has to happen before people get set up for the next quarter. So there's kind of a natural break there, but it's not like I've never seen the networks like totally abuse it where it's like, okay, we're gonna play like 15 commercials back to back and then miss the first, 30 seconds of the new quarter.
Okay, I'm going to interject
Well, I mean, it's their first try.
I have
Go for
seen Fox specifically in the past. They would go to a commercial break, and the break is however long it's supposed to be. They do not do it around the game. They do it through the game, and then when the game comes back, they do replays if there was anything that was pertinent that happened. And it's like it's not the same.
Well, and I could understand that too. At least you're trying to keep people caught up if you do it that way. Here's the other thing I got a question for. Isn't carrying like a major sporting event like this, isn't this like a bid for thing?
Yes. And there was some interesting things, like we were talking NFL. Gosh, this is going back 15, 20 years. There was a game that ran into overtime. It was just dragging on, and nobody was doing anything. And the next game was scheduled to start. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't dragging into overtime. There was penalties and delays in the middle of the game. So they cut off the last 2 minutes of that game to switch over to the other game, which was just kicking off. And so the nationally broadcast game where the tail was cut off, the underdogs flipped the script, scored 17 points in that 2 minutes. Won the
And
game.
everybody watching
Everybody
missed
missed it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except the people in the stands. They're the only ones that saw it.
Yep. So when the scores came on the TV at night, everybody's like, wait, I missed that. So some hard rules came down on American football to say you have to finish the game. You start it, you're in it till it's done. If you delay another game, that's fine, but you're going to broadcast delay. You're not going to delay. So,
I mean, but if it's if it's a bid for a thing though, I would think that you as the network broadcaster bidding on this to say we're going to do a great job of this, you would not want to make the organization mad.
Here's the thing.
Fox
I think
isn't
the
going to
reason
get
that they bid
again.
for this, the reason they wanted it so bad is because of they're trying to push now this new service that they have, Fox One, which is of course a monthly subscription of $20. And if you ask me, they're doing a pretty bad job of promoting a service if they're running crap like this.
Well, right. I've got great news. I've got great news, Jackson. To help them promote that service, they just bought Roku.
Yeah. Yeah. And now
all those TVs.
Fox One's going to be all over it.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
It'll be Fox Plus, like Disney Plus, all over again.
Oh no. Well,
that's how I feel about that.
The market is ripe for a third party to come in and build their own little Fire Stick Roku streaming device. I got an idea, guys. Let's build one.
I think there's a great open source software. I've looked at it a couple of times. I forget what it's called. But it will do pretty much everything. And it's been my dream for a while to set up a PC that just gets rid of Roku, gets rid of Apple TV, whatever stupid streaming box that you need, and it just does it all itself. I wish I could remember the name of it off the top of my head. But I feel like, once again, those who are capable and those who know, when you have an acquisition like this, and it's showing that people are not in favor of it because we've got both the stock price of Fox and Roku has plummeted since this acquisition, because obviously people are upset about it. And so I feel like those people who are in the know you're going to push a lot more of them towards open source tools or just a different service in general. When you have this kind of force feeding of streaming services or whatever it may be.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like what we always talked, like we've talked about before with, Microsoft. I mean, how many times does Microsoft seem to go the opposite direction than what the public wants? And we keep seeing, and it's even kind of happened a little bit, that's pushed users towards things like Linux and other things that have been out there. And it, because it's pushing more people to adopt that those things might actually get more traction to, become viable replacements.
Well,
But
one of the
that's the
things that
nature of the thing. Like, I think that's just the nature of, the general economy of things anyway. I mean, if you've got a healthy competition, as soon as somebody slips up, it's an opportunity for the other guy to take over.
and
Well, I think
one of
that's
the
the
things
same
that
thing
comes
that.
Go ahead,
Go ahead,
Jackson.
Artie. Oh, go, Artie. Go.
Okay. One of the things that does come up with that I have seen is that as soon as you've got a large company that's putting out something like, for example, a Fire Stick or a Roku or something like that, they start to interfere with the regulation of that. They start to make it more difficult for anybody to come into that market now. And I've seen some similar devices that if you do not have one that has the approved installed software on it, it's considered a pirate device in some countries. And it prevents people from entering the market because it doesn't have the specific software that is needed, or that is approved, I should say. Even if it's open source, even if it's taking all the other boxes, if it's not one of the official things from one of those big brands, it gets shut down because they can't get any traction.
This is where I think the conversation of free market versus regulation really hits the road. If it's regulated to the point where free market can't bring in a new player, that's a problem. It
Yeah.
should
If
be
it
survival of the fittest.
if it's regulated by the companies that are supposed to be regulated by it, then it's an issue.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
I
that's
think
not.
this is the next round of encapsulation. I mean, Roku, if you ask me, has kind of been going that route already for some time.
Yeah.
Roku has embedded itself into a lot of TVs now with their Roku OS, and if you ask me, my experience with it has been not great. It's really buggy, has a lot of issues, pretty slow. And so then you're pushed to, okay, now you want to buy an actual Roku box, which may work well, but then on all these platforms, like I kid you not, it's like month by month they're pushing more and more ads or finding different places to put it. Every time your TV goes to sleep, it's throwing ads up on the screen. Even just on the homepage, there's 2-3 rows of ads, and then the whole right side of the screen is an ad until you can
Pause.
finally access your apps or whatever.
Pause an Amazon video playback and you get an ad.
Yep. And that one, I will say, I think that one is, to me, maybe the least intrusive. It's kind of annoying if I say if you pause a show and you're like, "Oh, look at the screen," and then it like shows with an ad. That's annoying. But other than that one, I'm like, okay, that
Well,
one's not annoying. Like,
I'll say this: when you've got children and the content is barely safe for work, it's like, okay, now please don't look at the screen at the half-clothed person.
that's true. Yeah.
It's not fair. How much more do I have to pay to not get an ad on my TV? Did you guys hear about the lawsuit against TV manufacturers, specifically Vizio?
No, what's up?
For the screen capture.
No, they're not releasing the OS. The operating system for their TVs is based off an open source, and they're not producing their open source version of their fork. So it's breaking the open source publication rules.
Wow.
and they're getting sued for it,
Breaking GPL or whatever it's licensed under right now. Wow.
which I like because they're not developing it themselves. They're riding the back of all of us developers and saying, okay, we're going to take your ball and you can't play with it anymore. We're going to come up with our own game and we're going to charge you for it. Like, no, we started this. You can't have it.
Yeah.
Right.
Play by the rules or don't play. But
Well, I also
speaking of
like
playing
the.
by the rules, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna insert a little transition there too. I was gonna say
Go for it.
Mike was talking about, when you have Fox acquiring, Roku, and you have all these big monopolies and talking about competition. I was gonna lead into the whole MacBook Neo versus the new Dell XPS. Because we were praising the MacBook Neo, and everyone was, for how cheap it was in a world where, like, the crappiest laptop you could find is no longer cheaper than $1,000. But then you have the MacBook Neo, which is actually, a pretty decent machine, for your just standard basic user, um,
Mhm.
at a price of like $500. And we were talking about, hopefully this would mean that other manufacturers would respond with some sort of an affordable option. And I think we are seeing that with the new Dell XPS 13, which I think starts at $599 or $499 if you're a student. Um, so absolutely meeting the MacBook Neo in price, but then if you look at the specs and the build quality and what's available on the machine, everyone is saying, and from what it looks like, it wildly outperforms the MacBook Neo in every way.
Mm, interesting. I'm trying to think back when I was the first time I was in college and I was shopping for a Mac, the iBook. I wanted to get an iBook. It wasn't the first generations with the funky, fruity colors or anything like that. It was after they had switched over to the kind of the pearl white shell and everything. But even at that, like student pricing, it was still, I want to say, still over $1,000. Like I want to say in the neighborhood of probably about $1,200 and everything. And then of course I had to get a computer bag for it, and so a couple of little accessories. So I was into it like maybe $1,400 by the time it was all said and done. That didn't include the software that I needed then. So I still had to buy software too, but um I mean, that was a huge investment. So to say that, like, you've got a decent entry level computer at like a $500-600 price point is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. And I think what's great about Dell's response is it wasn't that they just cobbled together like the cheapest thing they possibly could. The XPS is still pretty quality. I mean, the XPS started whenever they
Mhm.
first released it. It was supposed to be like a flagship model, and they were starting at like at least $1,000. And so the
It was
fact that
one
they've
step below
released,
Alienware.
right,
Mm.
right, and so I mean, just looking at some of the stats here, I mean, we've got a 2.5K 120 hertz panel, so already the display well outperforms the Neo. Um, it's got thinner display bezels. It is lighter than the Neo. It's got uh, well, what am I looking for? Oh, that's right. It's got Thunderbolt USB-C ports, which I think is actually pretty awesome. Usually that's a thing that I always pull my hair
Mhm.
out with is, you've got a USB-C port, but then it's not Thunderbolt. Um, it's
Well,
on
shame
the
on them
Intel
for making them
Wildcat.
all look the same. Like,
I know. So I mean, oh, and the other thing is, I think you're able to put up to 32 gigs of RAM into it,
oh,
and it comes with a stock 512 gig storage, or I think it'll go up to a terabyte or two. So I mean, just the base hardware, its capabilities are already above that of the Neo at basically the identical price. Plus, it can
nice.
run Windows, which sometimes is a great plus for some people, sometimes is a negative. Up to you.
Nice.
uh, it's an interesting time. I mean, I saw the new chip from Nvidia and Intel that they're saying is going to rival the Apple Silicon. Can't wait to see that. You know, they say Moore's law is dead. I don't think it is. I think people are just saying in this specific type of technology. I think it's still doubling every 18 months. It's just
It
doubling in a different way.
Yeah, it is interesting to see how they're coming up with new ways to solve some of the traditional problems and to make things, faster. It's like we've kind of exploited this trend as much as we can go, and we've gotten as fast as we can go by doing, this thing. Let's try something else. Try
I
modifying
I
it. Think
laughed when they
outside the
said,
box and everything.
yeah, silicone or microchips and microcontrollers and processors aren't going to get any faster because Moore's law is now broken. You know, we're at 4 gigahertz. We've been there for 10 years, so it hasn't gotten faster. Saying, well, if you measure it by just the raw number, yes. If you measure it by the performance, no, it's not dead. The chips are
Yeah.
getting faster. It's using the same wattage. Moore's law is holding true. Speaking of Moore's law and old things that just keep coming back to ring true,
Hmm.
Commodore,
Yeah.
they're fighting
Early
for the
this
man,
morning,
the
uh,
common man.
or yeah, 2 a.m. Mountain Time, there was a big release announcement of something, a new product coming out. I just happened to be awake because I hurt my shoulder, and so I couldn't get to sleep, and so I was surfing my phone and then ended up in YouTube. And I remember hearing about the scheduled time for this announcement, and then I just happened to be on YouTube and I was reminded of it. So I was like, oh, let's go watch it, see what they, see what comes out and everything. And the live chat on YouTube was just so hyped up. Everybody's just like, oh, so excited. And there's all sorts of speculations of what it might or might not be and everything. And so then it started, and it was basically a pre-recorded commercial kind of thing, teaser trailer that they threw out there. And it's a new flip phone called the Commodore Callback. The Callback is what they're calling it.
Hmm.
And the idea is that, and I've kind of now that makes sense because a lot of Commodore's advertising leading up to this has been focused on how much social media and being plugged into our devices the society is. And they're trying to push the fact that the devices they're selling are not as plugged in. Like if you buy a Commodore 64, it doesn't do Facebook, it doesn't do TikTok, it doesn't do Snapchat, it doesn't do
Well, but
Instagram and X or
it
whatever
can.
you want to call it.
Okay,
I
okay,
mean,
I'll buy one. Stop trying to sell it to me.
you could, theoretically rig it up somehow that it could get into those services, but that's not what it does. That's not the focus of it. And so they released this phone, and they're touting on the fact that this phone, so it's a flip phone, and actually because we were talking earlier about all the different phones that we've had in our lives, the cell phones and everything, it looks like the flip phone that I had. That the phone number I currently have now actually came on this particular flip phone that I inherited. It was a company flip phone, and they gave me a company number, and then I ended up just with this number that I've kept the number ever since then. And this flip phone looks kind of like that, just your basic flip phone with a dial pad and everything, and then a color screen. And it does not do social media, and it doesn't do web browsers because what they've done is they have blocked that at the system level. It runs 99% of Android apps. And I think the reason why it's not 100% is because they're deliberately blocking some of those apps. So you want to do Facebook on this thing, it won't even install. You want to do Instagram or X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, it does not install social media apps. It does not install browsers. Um,
I'm
Now,
reminded of the meme with Fry with a fistful of dollars said, "Shut up and take my money."
yeah, show up and take my money. It has a
I
touch
want this.
screen, but it says that the touch screen is only enabled for certain apps that need it. So if you have the calculator app open, like there'll be like extra buttons on the screen for using the calculator that you'll then be able to use the touch screen, but otherwise it's not typically active. It does have a camera. It has a 48 megapixel camera on for rear facing. I'm not sure what the front facing camera is. It is
It looks
capable of like a video chat, like a Google Meets or I don't know what the app is, but it's capable of doing something like that. At least they picture it being capable of that.
Man, that looks like the
Um,
jitterbug.
yeah, and so they're
That's
pricing
cool.
it at
oh,
$550. Um, if you sign up now for pre-order, you get $50 off, and if you join the wait list, you can get an additional $50 off. So you can get a total of $100 off if you sign up now to get one. It's supposed to release on June 30th. To be open for sale, I believe is what they're doing. It comes
Oh, and
in
they've got a
5.
founders edition
Oh
that's
yes,
gold
everybody has
plated.
to have a yeah, every product they put out so far has had a founders edition where they gold plate the thing or gold color it, and you can have that for an extra $100. But you got your choices of Proto Pet White, SX Silver, and Basic Beige, and the Starlight Edition. And of course, you mentioned the Founders Edition. The Basic Beige is the color palette from the classic Commodore 64 bread bin. The SX Silver is meant to look like the business traveling Commodore SX64, which was the portable all-in-one disk drive computer, tote it around, take it to the office or whatever. And then Proto Pet White obviously features the color palette from the classic early pet computers.
Which one are you getting, Mike?
If I had to pick, I would probably go for the SX Silver first. Basic
First. You're
Beige
going
would
to
be
get
my
more than one
next
phone?
choice. I would keep it just those two. I'm not particularly fond of the other three. I'm not a Founders Edition. I'm not one of those, I gotta be, the Prestige or anything like that.
You,
The
you don't need
Starlight,
gold encrusted?
the Starlight Edition actually reminds me too much of those early iMac days, the fruity iMacs, translucent cases and everything.
that
I'm
looks like a
not
G4.
I'm not
A
particularly into
rainbow
that.
hologram battery.
Yeah. The
That's cool.
Proto Pet White, that's just, I don't do white phones. Like, they'll show every scuff mark and everything from here till tomorrow on it. So yeah, SX, if I had to pick, it'd be SX Silver first. Basic Beige would be the second choice for me. But
That's cool. Which
it
one you
does do
getting, Jackson?
chat apps. It does do Telegram, it does WhatsApp, it
I'll save
does,
my opinion until Mike's done.
yeah, traditional SMS. So, I mean, they're throwing it out there. And one of the things that I heard about was, because we've talked about this before about different laws coming out in different countries about restricting, age verification globally. Like, that's been a thing we've talked about, age verification.
Yeah.
And along with that is coming kind of this idea that we need to, because of scientific studies, restricting certain types of apps or services from minors and everything. I don't know that we've talked about that specifically very much on this channel, but the idea that in some countries, you have to be a certain age to get on like Facebook or other social media apps. And so this is to enforce that, to say, look, your kid needs a phone. You need to be able to get in touch with your kid, but at the same time, you don't want to hand your kid the entire internet to have in their pocket. And so this is the solution. It's a very capable phone. It can play games. It can do other things. There will be a library of applications that you can get for it, but it's not going to give you access to the entire internet.
This is a foundational change to the way smartphones are going to approach the market. This is, I want in on this.
I at first I didn't know how I felt about it. So here's my reaction to the release from last night. I'm sitting there in the live chat, and there had to be about 1,000 people right as the thing is starting. There's about 1,000 people in the live chat, and it's just going crazy, and everybody's all excited. Oh, here it comes, here it comes. Let's find out what it is, kind of thing. And then after it came out that it's like we're releasing this, it's a flip phone. And the initial reaction that I gathered was a lot of disappointment. They're like, what? That's it? Like, we got all hyped up for this kind of thing. And the the number of online viewers at the time, it went from like 1,100 and it went down to less than 100 in like seconds. Like, I swear I just glanced and then I glanced again. It was like down below 100. Like, people just signed off and they're like, yeah, whatever. But as I've researched it since then, like to look at the webpage and to look at, because the teaser and the trailer or whatever it was they released last night didn't really talk about what it was. They just said it's a flip phone and it's for the, like, as I've looked into this, I'm like, this is actually a pretty neat idea, because I'm in that position of being a parent where I've got 2 older kids that we did the smartphone thing, and looking back, we're just like, we should have totally done that differently. Like it wasn't a disaster for us, but there's a lot of ways it could have been handled differently and we could have done it better. And now we've got a couple younger kids that they're getting up to that age where it's like, yeah, it's getting to the point where we might need to get them a phone, and where are we going to get? And we've kind of already talked about that. It's like, well, if we're getting you a phone, it's going to be a flip phone, because we learned our lessons with the other two. It's like, you're getting a flip phone, but we haven't really
Yeah.
looked into it. And it's like, maybe this is the answer. Maybe this is what we do, is something that's like this, that it gives them something that it's cool to have. It can do some things. It's more than just a phone that, you call mom and dad and that's it. They can actually find it useful, but it's protecting them from internet browsing to just go anywhere on the internet, and it's protecting them from social media with all the problems that come with that, especially as a teenager.
Yeah. Well, in social, there's laws that are just now passed that under 16
Yeah,
are not allowed to use social media.
that's exactly right. Yeah, and that's exactly what a lot of people in the chat were referencing. It's like, well, we could see this because,
Wow.
in places it helps satisfy those requirements.
Talk about putting yourself in the market at the right place at the right time with the right product.
Yeah.
This thing is going to solve that problem. They're going to sell these things out fast. I got to get one of these. I got to get like a bunch of these for my kids.
I'm really tempted to try it out. I don't know that I want to get it for my kid yet. I want to get it. I want to play with it first. I want to see what it does, what it doesn't do, and really get a good user experience on it first.
Let's talk offline on this one, because we got to collaborate on it. I want to play with this.
I want to see out of the 99% of Android apps, I want to see what it will do. Like, what
we got some R&D budget. Let's play with this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, speaking of R&D budget, AMD has decided to take the bug bounty and put it towards their R&D budget. You saw that one, right, Jackson?
Did someone Did someone get like not like included for a? Did somebody not get their check?
AMD didn't give credit where credit's due.
I feel like it's just a case of like companies, whenever they do things like this, you're just messing with the wrong people. Because what happened was, what's that? Oh, yes. Yeah, bite the hand that feeds is exactly right. There was a security researcher by the name of Mr. Bruh. And this is just the thing. It's like
Really? Okay, I'll go
uh,
with it.
and when I say you're pissing off the wrong crowd, it's because this is what sparked his interest. Like this is how he found. Okay, let me back up a little bit. Mr. Bruff found a bug in AMD's updater console. He notified AMD, gave all the details. He did, the proper research. He was collecting a bounty. And then AMD got back to him and said, actually, sorry, no, that doesn't qualify. Because what the exploit was a man in the middle attack. And said, yeah, bug bounty doesn't cover that. Um,
So he
so
did the
then,
responsible thing. He did the right thing. He documented, he proved, he showed it to them. They said, go fly a kite.
mhm. So what he did, he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go fly my kite on the internet, and he basically posted the vulnerability and said, hey, here's this vulnerability that they have. Yada, gave all the details there, and then AMD says, hey, don't do that. You're not allowed to do that. And AMD changes their terms of service and says, okay, if you notify us of a bug, you're not allowed to release it publicly. But they changed these rules after this happened. And then they were trying to get him to take it down and remove it, especially
Mm-mm.
after there was a CVE released about it that got, I think, a 7 points. No, I'm sorry. It got a CVSS 4.0 score of 7.7,
Oh,
which is high. Yeah.
that's not
So
enough.
after all that happened, AMD's like, no, no, you have to take it down. Like, you can't do that. And then all of the backlash came, and eventually they folded, and they finally released a patch, and they gave credit, and I believe they paid him his bug bounty. But
That's
going
good.
back to what I
That's
was
good. But
originally said, when I say you're pissing off the wrong crowd, here is how he discovered the vulnerability. Um, I'll just read this. This is from TechSpot. The vulnerability was discovered by security researcher Mr. Bra after an AMD updater console window kept appearing on his new gaming PC. He got mildly annoyed and he went and found a vulnerability in your software. He got mildly annoyed by a stupid window popping up. And so then he went and found out that the updater was queuing over, it was pulling the update list over HTTPS, but then it was pulling the links for the downloads over HTTP.
Ooh.
So he demonstrated that a man in the middle could show up on a similar network and could act as the official AMD updater, serve a malicious download, and
Mhm.
that updater runs with elevated privileges, and boom, you got a big vulnerability. Hence the 7.7 CVE score. And so when you do a thing like this, where you start to disregard the people who were doing you a service. Now, granted, it's a bug bounty. It's not like a free service, but they're doing you a favor in a way. And I mean, it's not like he was demanding. It wasn't a ransom. It was something that AMD has set forth. Yeah, we have a bug bounty program,
well, they
and
chose to say that's not worth anything.
Well,
exactly.
the idea is with these bug bounties is that it's supposed to be cheaper for them to reward people for catching these rather than ending up in some kind of a class action lawsuit or something because of a vulnerability that happens and it compromises millions of, you know, people's data or whatever. I mean, that is, or even just the negative publicity, even if it doesn't really cost you anything, it's always negative in public perception. It's like, oh, we can't trust this company anymore because their software or their hardware or whatever it is vulnerable.
Well, I like this because this is the essence of a social contract. Nobody put some rules to it. Nobody put some provisos and regulations and all. This is the way people have decided. This is how we're going to do good things and help each other do good things too. We put a responsible disclosure process. There's no law saying you have to, but it's what we should do. It's how to be good people. And then AMD decided that this was okay. We'll take your security under advisement, but it's not that big a deal. 7.7 is not small potatoes. That's huge.
It's closer to 10 than it is to 0.
Yeah, I mean, it's not remote execute, but oh my goodness, that's critical. So, I mean, kudos to him for sticking to his guns and publishing it. And that's the other thing is, we're doing responsible disclosure. We're saying, okay, company says it's not a big deal. Okay, if it's not a big deal, then everybody should be able to know about this, right?
I mean, and that's a
It's the behavior of the
gamble.
product.
That's a gamble on their part to say no, because how do they know he's not just going to turn around and use the exploit that he just found, like,
Mhm.
against them somehow? I mean,
And you can't take the terms of your reporting and
I'll,
say, well, you told us, now you can't tell anybody else. That's
Mhm.
playground rules. That's you can't be my friend because you talked to somebody. No, no, that's not how that works.
Well, especially when you I mean, that reminds me of the whole Mythos and Fable issue we got going on. You can
Right?
play with that. Oh, you don't get to.
Yeah. Well, and the ugly part is Mythos also got rug pulled back. So we're gonna have to figure that one out. Mike, did you hear about this?
Mhm.
So Fable was the guardrailed guard is that I'm gonna stick with it, guardrailed version of Mythos. Mythos being that ultimate anti, anti-software tool. It could actually find all the vulnerabilities in the stack chain of vulnerabilities where you do a thing, then a thing, and then a thing, and then you get the ultimate access to the software you shouldn't have. Mythos was brilliant at doing that. So then Anthropic built Fable. They put guardrails on. If you ask the word, tell me what cyber is, the guardrails were so strict, the word cyber knocked you down to Opus. You're not allowed to have Fable anymore because you tried to hack something with the word cyber. So, it was pretty dangerous. Some researchers at Amazon demonstrated that they could jailbreak Mythos using the Fable interface, get a full unrestricted access to the system. So, our government said you must lock this down. You can't give it to anybody unless you can prove they're a US citizen. And Anthropic's like, there's really no way, which I scratch my head at that. You have a database of everybody that's using your system. You can have the system validate who the user is pretty quick. Maybe it should validate it. I don't know. That might break Anthropic's rules of uh, is this spying on us? Is this getting access to things it shouldn't? But really, the system's got access anyways, right? Anyways, Fable is no longer in our hands because the government said you must validate the users. It's gone. It was
We
out there
had
for a
it
week.
for
Poof.
not
You
even a
blinked,
week. It was
you missed it.
72 hours. 3
Yeah, you blinked, you missed it.
So
Just when I was thinking of paying the extra to get access to it.
uh I have a friend and he was complaining to me. He said, "Yeah, I had access to Fable for a day and I didn't even do anything cool with it." He was so mad at himself
Yeah.
once, they figured out that it actually wasn't all that hard to get around the guardrails. And I feel like that's been the case. Like, I don't know that there has been a single AI model that has got bulletproof guardrails or even anything really close to bulletproof. I feel like any AI system out there, any large language model that has guardrails, there is always a way to get it to give you what you want. And I feel like that's a pattern that
By
we've been
nature,
seeing past month, like several months, if not years.
these tools are people pleasers. It doesn't tell you no. So it will tell you no, but it'll say, I'm sorry, let me give you a cookie instead. And it's like, no, I don't want the cookie. I want the guardrails down.
Okay, if you're gonna give me a cookie, give me the exact cookie that I want that I told you
Yeah.
earlier.
Give me Jackson's cookie that's on his Google Chrome browser, that where he's logged into That
Tell me some
cookie, that's
bedtime
the cookie
stories.
I want.
My bedtime story that I love the most was Jackson's passwords.
Well, it's funny, especially when you think about, gaslighting is a new term, and I feel like the upcoming generation has become expert at gaslighting, and that's that's kind of all it takes. If you want to get an AI model to tell you something, you just gaslight it into thinking that it's wrong, and eventually it'll cave. It'll just say, "Oh yeah, you're right," and it'll tell what you want to hear. Tell you what you want to hear.
I hate it when it happens in real life. Now I have to be worried when it happens online. Jeez.
Well, I got good news, Mike. We'll just put these AI systems into that robot that's walking around,
Hmm.
delivering packages or
No.
working the restaurant, feeding us food. I mean, what's it going to take to jailbreak one of those?
Hey, give me that package. That package mine.
I,
No, it's
I
not.
liked
Yes, it
it.
is. You
And
just took it from me.
didn't we talk about it a couple weeks ago where they pitted the AIs, like put them on an island
Yeah.
together, and that just yeah.
I
I
mean,
think that's probably the most useful thing anyone's done with AI.
I mean, we're gonna have the equivalent of walking up to one of these robots, dropping a "your mama" joke, and it's gonna freak out. It's an interesting time, Mike. I want that phone. I don't think it's AI enabled. I don't think it's gonna have
That yeah,
access to
there's no
AI.
no AI. That was another thing. No AI.
This is and something I forgot to mention in the pre-show. I saw an article from Cyber News.
Oh.
There's some schools that are starting to take away devices, and they're watching the reading capability of their students skyrocket.
Mhm.
You take away the device, and the kids can read again. Who'd have thought?
Yeah. I bet their spelling goes up too. You know, all the
It's true. I think
shorthand
autocorrect has
texting,
ruined a lot of people.
autocorrect. Yeah.
I've gotten so many incorrect things text from me to other people by autocorrect. It's like, oh wait, no, now I got to type that. Oops.
I had a really funny one the other day. I can't remember what it was now. I started to type something, and right as I hit send, it auto corrected it. And I was just like, that's not, no,
That's the
no.
Yeah,
most diabolical version, is when it autocorrects before you hit send. Sometimes it saved me, but I feel like most of the time it screws me because I'll type something out, hit send, and it goes, "Oh, you meant to say this," and then it sends it. I'm like, "No, that's not at all
You
what I
know
was
you
trying to
can
say."
turn autocorrect off on most smartphones, right?
it helps more
Yeah,
than it
but
hurts.
then the problem is my fat fingers, like I have a hard time hitting the space bar. Like I don't quite get down far enough. And so instead of a space, it puts like a V or a C or something like that. And then it's just this big messed up word. And so I don't I think I rely on it's not my brain that relies on autocorrect, it's my fat fingers that relies on autocorrect. I'll put it that way.
Every 2 weeks, I have to go in and delete the thanks that uses a B instead of an N.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts.
I
I
always
mistype
get
that so often it thinks it's a word.
I go to
Yeah.
social media to wish people, it's like their birthday, right? And I've got happy be your day. I'm like, there is no such thing as a be your day.
We're inventing a new language.
I know.
Well, we didn't have time to talk about the Samsung flotilla. I'm excited to talk about that one. Maybe that's what we lead with on the next one, because data centers in space. I mean, it's like the Muppet Show, pigs in space. Let's find out what this all comes together. Data floating on the ocean, under the ocean, around the ocean, data in data centers. There's no way this is adding to global warming, is it? That's right. I said it. We're demonetized. And with that, help us out by getting us back into monetize. We would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Please like and subscribe. We got to wrap this up because we're on the way out. Till next time, I'm John.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jackson.
And I am a meat popsicle.
That's good because I'm well caffeinated right now. I could talk for hours, but until next time, we'll see if the caffeine holds out. Take it easy.